heel elevated squats, a phenomenal tool in the at-home tool bag, or any exercise tool bag at that. But particularly for those of us at home on a minimalist equipment program with not a ton of weight available, it's a phenomenal way to get a lot more out of your squats without needing as much load, okay? And a quick breakdown here of options available for creating that heel elevation and why you may want to choose one over the other. If we're not worried about buying something like a slant board that you can usually find for, I think, anywhere from $50 to $100 for a good one, this is probably the best option for a lot of folks. It's going to have the most stability. It's not going to move around on you as much as, say, a pair of dumbbells. It's also going to give you the opportunity to adjust your feet according to your stance, whereas, say, a plate doesn't afford you that. It's sort of fixed, right? So the slant board's a great option, but in general, all three are doing something similar, where we're basically giving ourselves a greater degree of ankle flexibility, right? By lifting that heel up, we're gonna be able to get our knees much more forward and still have stability there. Where without my heel being supported, I might end up in a much more horizontal squat. And essentially what I'm doing here, guys, is we are gonna be shifting the focus a little bit from the hips to more of the knees, right? And intentionally trying to target the quads a little bit more. That heel elevation is going to essentially allow you to sit with a more upright torso and get into a much greater range of knee flexion and less range at the hips, okay? This can be a great thing for deloading the back a little bit while still hammering the legs, for, again, using less weight but more stimulus, or someone who maybe has some hip issues and still wants to crush their legs with some squats. We can get, again, a lesser angle of hip flexion than a standard flat-footed squat, okay? So that's why we're doing it. If you don't have a slant board, a plate works great. You can go, depending on the way you like to squat, a little bit wider and more turned out, or fairly narrow and straight ahead. The idea is the same here. I'm trying to keep my torso nice and upright. I don't want to let my hips go back as I come up, which is a common fault if someone doesn't really know how to use their legs out of the bottom. Plates are going to be a great option. Dumbbells are another fantastic option. And one thing that's nice about dumbbells that's unique to the other two is you can play with the angles, right? We all have a little bit different orientation at our hips. Some of us have a much greater time hitting depth with more internal rotation setup, some more external. If you're someone with more of that external rotation, having the ability to angle the dumbbells more like this might be really beneficial for you. So take advantage of these options. Either way, know that why we're doing that is creating a much more upright torso angle. Leave your ego at the door because it's going to be less weight, right? But fight for that torso angle throughout.